Hi friends, I am very happy to present in front of you a very amazing, exciting, informative and inspiring discussion I had with one of our students, Mugundhan, who secured an All India rank 9 in the recent CA final exam of December 2021. We discussed very extensively on what it exactly takes to secure a rank, step-by-step methodologies and strategies on how to prepare for the examination. Watch till the end. There is going to be complete understanding of a ranker's mindset for CA final. So here it is. Enjoy. Watch till the end. So hello Mugundhan. Welcome to JKSC classes. And we are very honored and feeling very happy to invite you here for this interview. In your December 2021 CA final attempt, you scored All India rank 9. That's a great achievement. Super congratulations to you from the entire JKSC classes family. So Mugundhan, tell me, how are you feeling?
Before I begin, I would like to thank my parents, teachers and friends who have supported me in achieving this. Almost 15 days have been passed after the results. Still, I am feeling that at last I have done something great in my life.
That's very nice. So the day you got the result, when you saw it, what exactly happened on that day? Please take our audience through what exactly you went through, what happened. Please let us know.
February 10 is going to be an unforgettable day in my life. Actually, it was a Thursday. I have free play before night. Actually, I have taken a leave from my office. Lot of thoughts were going into my mind about fear, what the results are going to be. Almost 1 week I had that thoughts. To distract me, my friend suggested me some movies to encourage me and get away from those thoughts. From morning 6 o'clock to till the results are out, I was watching movies. It was third movie of the day I was watching. Around 120 results have been arrived. In the morning itself, I have given my roll number and pin to my friend and said that if I don't call you after results, you should understand that I am not here. Actually, I was quite confident that I would get through the pass mark at least. But all my colleagues and my friends are confident that I would secure a rank. You might not believe that my friend who saw the results checked directly in the merit list. That much confidence my friends had on me. Then exactly at 1:20, I started loading ICA website. Since the network is poor, I am not able to see the results. At that time, the heartbeat was high. I could hear the heartbeat from outside. My hands were shivering. I couldn't hold the mobile phone in my hand. Almost 10 minutes have been passed. At 1:32 exactly, my friend called, to whom I gave my roll number. She said that you have excelled in the exams in local language. I was speechless for 5 minutes. I said to her, send me the screenshot. Let me see once. She sent me the screenshot. She said that you have secured All India rank 9 and marks are 599. Then I couldn't believe that moment. After that, because she saw only in merit list, I couldn't see the marks. Almost after 1 hour only, I got to see my own results. I informed my parents that I have secured All India rank 9. My mother was in home, my father was outside somewhere. When he returned, he bought about 7 kg of sweets to home and distributed to everyone whom he saw at that time. My mother called everyone in the family. She couldn't rest for a minute for calling. She called everyone in the family and said that I have secured an All India rank 9 and cleared the Chartered Accountancy examination. That's how the day went.
That's very nice to hear. I also relived the day I had cleared my CA final. It was a very different experience, and getting an AIR 9 must be terrific. Super congratulations to you, and I'm very happy to hear all of it. Now, my question to you is, since when are you associated with JKSC classes? And more importantly, why did you choose JKSC classes for your CA final preparation?
I've been associated with JKSC from 2018. I have joined my CA intermediate with JKSC in February 2018. once the classes were started, I came to know the faculty members. I was very impressed with the faculty members who have taught me in CA Inter, and the time-bound coaching we had in CA Inter. At the time of joining, they said that before August 15, we will finish your syllabus. On August 13, they finished my syllabus of CA Inter. At that time itself, I decided to join JKSC for CA Final. Because I was very much impressed with the faculty members who taught me in CA Inter. My attempt was since November 18. Exams have been held. I was preparing very well. I was attending JKSC test series. Every Sunday there used to be a test since it was pre-COVID. I will attend the physical test series from JKSC, and exams have been held in November 18. When the results came in Feb, I got to know that I have secured All India rank 20 in CA Inter. Then what would a student like? I've been impressed by the teachers, and I have got the very much good results. That is why I decided again to join JKSC in CA Final.
So basically you have got an AIR both in CA Inter and now AIR 9 in CA Final. Super congratulations to you. Very happy to hear. So now Mugundhan, you must have started your CA Final preparation during the pandemic, right? And during the pandemic, we were able to offer you an online platform here, right? You must have come to our website. How did you find the online platform of JKSC Online? How was the entire experience? Please take us through it. The systematic presentations, the test series, the doubt solving platforms. How did you find it? Even study plans were offered to you. Please take us through what was your experience with the platform of this online.jksc classes website. Please take us through it.
Sure. In 2019, when I joined Articleship, around in February 18, if I remember correctly, I thought that I should start classes from then itself. In 2019, there was no CA Final classes in JKSC Chennai. They were not offering CA Final. They were offering CA Foundation and CA Inter. Then I asked Sheikh sir, who is in charge of JKSC Chennai, whether they will be offering CA Final. He said that as of now there is no plan for live classes, but the recordings are on for online classes. In March, when COVID hit the country, everything became online. At the time, JKSC Online, when they introduced the classes, it was initially in Hindi. In English, there were only 4 classes were offered. Since I have secured All India rank 20 in CA Inter, JKSC has offered me 50% scholarship for CA Final. Only 4 classes were available in online platform. I bought all the 4 classes without a second thought for 50% off. So I would able to buy all the 4 classes at one go in March 2020. At that time, they introduced JKSC online platform. Then again, when I started viewing the lecture about the doubt solving, I want to mention a special thing which I faced with Nitin Nahar sir. He is an IDT professor from JKSC. While viewing the lecture, I used to get a lot of doubts in IDT. For other 3 classes, I didn't get much doubts. In IDT, I used to ask those doubts in the JKSC chat box. At the time, I could feel that he replies within an hour and half an hour before the lecture completes. For example, if I had a 3-hour session on the day, while watching starting itself, I had a doubt. If I raised in the chat box, it would get resolved before the lecture ends. It doesn't feel that I am looking at recording lecture, but it was a live. Sometimes he used to ask me that why can't you explain more detail about this doubt in mail. He used to send me a mail ID, send me his mail ID. I would make a mail to him and ask those doubts. I have sent almost 3 to 4 mails to him asking doubts. For those mails, he used to reply again in a half an hour before the session ends. I don't know how he made it possible, but it was like a live lecture. For the online lectures, I didn't face any time lag or buffering or any technical glitches while viewing the lectures. Again, JKSC has proved that they are time bound even in online lectures.
So now Mugundhan, I want to get to the ground basics and ground reality of how a CA Final student actually prepares. And one of the biggest areas of concern for all CA Final students is they do not know how to balance their articleship, their work life, with their self-study, their personal preparation time. I am pretty sure that you must have definitely learned the art of how to balance between the both of them. I want you to tell our viewers, all the young CA students who are watching this interview right now, how did you do it? How did you manage to balance your life at a big firm in your articleship? I'm pretty sure it must be hectic there. And then come home and then also study, take out time to study. From where did you get all that planning, all that determination, all that dedication, consistency? Please take us through that part, the balancing part between work and personal studies.
To be frank, sir, it is quite difficult to manage both studies and articleship, especially when you are in a big firm. Actually, in 2019, when I joined the firm, it was full of outstation audit for me. I was traveling all over the country for audits. As I said before, I thought that I should start classes. I didn't think much about preparation, but I thought that I should start the classes. Since JKSC was not there at that time, I took a weekend class from Chennai for SCMPE. I started my classes in 2019 itself. It was a weekend class. Actually, in my firm, the Saturday and Sunday are holidays. So I used to go for classes on Saturday and Sunday in 2019. But many times I missed my classes due to outstation audits. I would be traveling on Saturdays. So I missed my classes in 2019. For 4 to 5 days I have missed the classes. After in February or March, one classes have been finished for me. SCMPE classes, weekend classes was finished. Then the world has seen the COVID-19. Then everything has been changed to online. At that time, as I said that I bought all the four classes from JKSC. So I started viewing the lectures online. It was a work from home for my office, but the pressure has been increased. Since in work from home, we had to work more and more. We don't get much guidance from the seniors. In field, it was very helpful for us to solve our doubts in our work. But in work from home, everything has changed. The pressure has been increased. But I could save the travel time which I had. I used those time to viewing lectures. But I couldn't see the lectures all the day around because I had a listed client to work on. It has a very strict timelines. Every quarter I used to work for that client. So it has a very strict timeline. So I could miss the classes for at least a week or two while working on that client. Actually, it was a very quite tough job to do, manage the studies and articleship, but it is not a difficult one. We could plan in such a way that we should excel both in my studies and in my articleship. I concentrated more on my work because I have a belief that my work will help me in preparing for my CA final examination. Actually, it helped me. I decided to watch at least a 3-hour session daily during my articleship period, except for the days I work on the listed clients because it had very strict timelines, as I said earlier. In weekends, I plan for 8 to 10 hours of class a day for Saturday and Sunday, except the days where I was plotted to the listed clients. Come what may, I will view at least a 3-hour session every day during my articleship and 8 hours every weekend. That was my plan during my articleship days.
Okay, so brilliant, Mugundhan. So basically, you sat down and told yourself, come what may, except in very rare circumstances, you are going to be watching a 3-hour class every day, and if it's a weekend, then you will be watching somewhere around 8 hours class. That's brilliant. So if I understand you correctly, are you trying to tell everyone here that it is mandatory, compulsory to start studying even during the articleship period and not wait till the end? Once you get leave from your articleship, then suddenly you have nothing else to do, then we'll start studying. You are not supposed to wait till the end. You are supposed to start studying early on, right during your articleship. Work hard. It might take some trouble, but you please do it. Is that the message you want to give, that start early and do not wait till the end?
Yes, sir. It is in line with that. Actually, I divide studies into 2 parts. One is classes, other one is self-preparation. As far as CA Inter is concerned, I would prefer that it is a 60-40 weightage for both. Classes would be 60% and self-preparation would be 40%. As far as CA Final is concerned, I would prefer that it is 20 to 40% of your classes and 60% of your preparation. That is what I made my plan. Actually, as I said before, I have completed only 4 classes before my articleship period. But my plan was to complete all the 8 classes before my articleship gets over. But I was able to complete only 4 classes. Actually, if you see that if you complete your classes before your articleship period, you would have a better plan in your mind what to do in the remaining 5 months you get as a leave. Actually, you can see that classes would answer you 2 questions: how to study and what to study. These are the main questions that will be answered when you attend classes, because the syllabus is huge. For some subjects, we don't know what are there in the syllabus. We want to do a lot of efforts for preparing it. So it is better that if view the classes, it will be helpful to answer those 2 questions: what to study and how to study, and when to study.
So Mugundhan, if I understand you correctly, you are saying that you completed the video viewing of 4 subjects, 4 papers before your articleship got over, or basically before your study leave started. That's a great achievement. And then in your study leave, you must have covered the rest. So now a very practical question I want to ask you. First question, how many months leave did you get? Second, when did you finally finish the video watching and also your self-study of all 8 papers, the first self-study? When did you complete it? And third, what was your schedule during the study leave period? Please take us through that.
Actually, the planned leave in my firm was 5 months, which will start from 1st June for November attempt. At that time, the May 21 exams dates were uncertain because of COVID. It got postponed. The dates weren't announced. But luckily, I got my leave on 1st June itself. I would like to thank my firm for doing it. But actually, as I said earlier, I have finished only 4 classes before my exam leave. I sat and planned on May 28, if I remember correctly. I planned for the first reading and finishing classes, rest of the classes. So as I planned only for first reading, because I am certain at that time that there would be some extension in exam dates because of COVID, because as I said earlier, May 21 dates were not announced. So I sat and planned for first reading and finishing classes. I allocated July month for up to June and July for finishing classes. Second half I plan to watch classes, and first half I'll start my preparation at the same time. So I had pending 4 classes. For elective I chose to self-study. For balance 3 classes I already bought from JKSC, and for theory subjects I got it from outside because there was no English classes available in JKSC. So I started in 1st June, I started watching classes. In the second half I started my preparation in the first half. Actually the 4 classes which I finished before was financial reporting, SCMPE, DT and SFM. These are the 4 classes I finished before my exam leave. In exam leave I started IDT, audit and law. These 3 subjects I have started after the exam. Actually my plan was to finish the first reading around September 15. I allocated 1 month, exactly not exactly. Exactly I used to plan based on hours rather than days. Effective hours I used to plan. So up to September 15 I must read at least once all the subjects and with the test. That was my initial plan when I sat and planned in May. All went as per plan. I was able to finish the concepts within the time I allocated in the first half. Classes went well in June, and in July on July 31 when I sat back and saw what are the pending things. There were about 30 to 40 hours of class left for audit. I had a plan for my preparation, self-preparation, but lacking in classes. So I decided not to view the class for that 40 hours because those are the concepts which I did practically in the past 2 years in my firm. So I decided not to view the classes. By that time exam dates were announced. So I extended my plan till November. I plan to complete my second reading in October 15, and first reading, since I was ahead in concept, I preponed the first reading to August end rather than September 15. So August end I should complete my first reading, and then again in October I should complete my second reading, and in November I plan for a mock test. So every reading I would use to take a test, either ICA mock tests, ICA mock test series. I would take that, and I'll correct myself and evaluate me. Yeah, everything went again as per my plan. I completed my first reading exactly around in August or September first week. I started my second reading. I was shocked that everything has been nothing is in my mind. Everything looks fresh for me when I started my second reading. So I was I was not confident at that time because everything has been erased from my mind. So I studied again and again. For theory subjects, I followed a strategy that today I study a concept, I would revise it for next 3 days. Then only it stayed in my mind. So I finished my second reading as planned in October. And as I said, I decided for mock test in November. ICA mock test series was not released at that time, so I took a test series from third party. But I was not surprised with that question papers because everything was old question papers. Still, for my practice, I took those tests. My plan was to do the test series in 1.5 days because that is what we get before exam. Before our final exam, we will get almost around 1 to 1.5 days. So I decided to repeat the same in November itself. So November 1 or 2, I started that mock test series. First group went well. I was able to revise within 1.5 days. So I decided to allocate extra 1 day for the second group because I was confident that I am able to revise within 1.5 days. Everyone will feel that this much we have studied, how we can revise it in 1.5 days. That was the same question that was running in mind. The mock test series helped me to crack that question. I was able to recall everything in 1.5 days. So I allocated extra 1 day because I was ahead of plan from the beginning itself. So I allocated extra 1 day for group 2 so that I can prepare it well. I went in reverse order for group 2. I finished my IDT around November 13. I think I finished my IDT and started preparing for DT.
So Mugundhan, what you have said is really an eye-opener for many. When they hear what you are trying to say, they will realize what they are supposed to do. And during the entire talk that you just now gave, I was hearing only one thing: planning, right? You have planned everything out and you have executed it. And I also remember as a student myself, I believed a lot in planning. And when I say planning, what we all do is we make timetables, we make schedules, we decide, okay, on this date, this much we'll study, and all that thing we make. Now, first question is, did you also make any sort of timetable? The second question is, if you have made timetables, were there any moments where you were not able to fulfill what you have written in those timetables, and how you used to cope with such situations? Because generally when we make timetables, the immediate next thing that happens to us is we are not able to follow it. And when we are not able to follow it, generally students give it up altogether. So I want you to advise all of them on the management, the preparation and the management of timetables. Please take us through that.
Actually, every plan doesn't go as smooth as it is, as we looked before. As I said before earlier, I used to plan based on hours. I decided to spend almost 12 to 15 hours a day initially. Gradually, I have increased from 12 to 15 hours a day. It went all good till, as I said before, till the November 12 or 13, if I exactly remember. I used to maintain a note where I will note down how many hours I studied in a day and what subject I have studied at a gross level, not concept level. At least I studied for 12 hours a day. I studied SFM. Like that, I used to note down in my notebook. For every date, I would used to mention number of hours and subject studied. As I said earlier, for first off, I planned for theory, and second off, I planned for practical subjects. Or vice versa. I'll shuffle it based on my requirement, and so every day I'll note down the number of hours. If I spend less than 12 hours, I'll used to question myself that what other job you did other than studying, because I didn't have any other thing during that time. I didn't use my mobile. I didn't have any work pressure or any other thing during my exam leaves. So I will question myself that why you spent less than 12 hours. Is there any other thing important than my studies? The question I used to ask myself. I would continue from where I left in the previous question. In November 12 or 13, I finished my IDT mock test from third revision, and I completed my IDT exam. Here comes the most stressful portion of my exam leave. I started preparing DT This is a situation where I was not ahead of my plan, where I left behind my plan. Till here I was ahead of my plan. The dates I fixed, I was ahead of it. So exactly on November 14, if I remember correctly, I started preparing DT for the third revision. I allocated 2 days, as I said, because group 1 I was able to complete within 1.5 days for third revision. So I decided to allocate extra 1 day for group 2. So since I had time, so I decided to allocate 2 days for DT. I started on 14th November. But I had a little stomach pain at that time. My parents were not at home. I was alone at home. So I decided to take some first aid. I took soda and other first aid items I took. Then still the pain was unbearable. Around 11 a.m. I went to bed to take rest. I was not much worried at that time because I was ahead of my plan. After 1 p.m. I didn't take lunch. I took only breakfast. I didn't take lunch because the pain still doesn't come down. So I called my father around 5 p.m. Till then I was in bed, but I didn't get sleep also because of pain. So around 5 p.m. I called my father. Father, I think it is a food poison. I need some tablets. My father immediately returned from the function and he took me to the hospital. That was the first day I went out since my exam leave was started. Just to go for an hospital. Till then, I have never stepped out of my home. For anything, even for shops. My parents didn't ask me to go to even nearby shops. So I would like to thank my parents for that also. On November 14, I stepped out of my home for an hospital. I went to an hospital and I took a painkiller and some tablets. When I returned home, it was around 8 p.m. I decided to go to sleep because I have extra time. That's what my thinking at that time, because I was ahead of my plan. Again, I went to bed at around 8 p.m. Before sleep, I vomited everything I took. Because of that painkiller, I got sleep at that night. The next day was a Sunday, I think. When I woke up, the pain was same as I had before day. So I asked my father, again the pain is still unbearable. He took a cab and took me to a hospital in Chennai. My village is in around 40 to 50 kilometers away from Chennai. For bigger hospital, I want to visit Chennai. It almost takes 2 hours to travel to Chennai. So I decided to take DT book along with me since I am going to travel 2 hours. My plan was to study while returning, because while going I had a pain. While returning, I thought that I will not have pain, so I can study in a cab. So I took my DT book along with me. Sunday I went to a hospital in Chennai. Luckily, I had a doctor who is a specialist in abdomen pain. We took a scan. Within 1 hour, the results are out. Scan results are out. The doctor called me and my parents to his room and informed that it is not a normal stomach pain. It is appendix. We want to operate it immediately to avoid any complications. I was shocked to hear that. I tried to explain the doctor. Doctor, it is December 5 was my exams. Just 10 days are away from my exams. 10 to 15 days are away from my exams. I told him that why can't we do on December 19, the last day of my exams. I tried to convince doctor how much effort I have been put during the last 5 months. I have even never stepped out of my home. Even I didn't take my COVID vaccine just because I want to go out and spend some hours. So I tried to explain the doctor how much hard work I have given for my studies and how tough the exams are going to be. The doctor in turn convinced my parents. Still I am not convinced that I have prepared so much. If at this stage, if I was admitted to hospital, I will lose everything. But at last everyone joined and convinced me to admit into the hospital. The doctor promised me that I will discharge you within 3 days of operation and 2 days of bed rest you can take. If you miss this opportunity again, if it become complication, you will need to spend 6 months on it to get out of this. So at last I was admitted on the hospital on the same day. Around 10 to 15 injections were given to me, which reduced my pain eventually. I was able to study only 1 hour in that hospital. I lost every confidence I had because I was able to revise everything in 1.5 days in my last test series. But when I was admitted to hospital, it was very breaking for me to believe that every day I used to spend for 15 hours, but past 2 days I was not even able to spend an hour on studies. I lost all my confidence I gained. I was admitted to hospital on Sunday. On Sunday, I spent only 1 hour on my DT book. On Monday, operation was fixed around 10 a.m. It was morning operation held as planned. I was admitted in an ICU for 1 hour for observation. When I came out of ICU, I got my conscious. Later, they said that we want to take 3 days here, as said before. For those 3 days, I need someone to get up from the bed. I need someone to take me to restroom. I was not able to stand on my own. It destroyed my morale, actually. Before day itself, I used to spend 15 hours just before 2 days before. Now I am not able to stand even. How I am going to write my exam? Then the thoughts came whether I should give group 1 or group 2, or I should give both, or whether I should give my attempt in December, because exams are very near. So I was thinking whether I should give group 1 or group 2. I informed my office regarding that. I was admitted to hospital through my friend. Luckily, I was covered by office insurance. Then another shock was waiting when I discharged from hospital after 3 days. When I went home, it was informed to me that my father was met with an accident, and luckily he survived due to helmet he wore. It was again a mental pressure for me, who already was thinking that whether I should give group 1, group 2, or both the groups. So again, I was not able to stand up and see my father. That's what the situation at that time. I don't know what I am going to do. The exams are almost near. Then I texted my friend that I am planning to give one group 1 or group 2 since I was admitted to hospital. The text I got as a reply was, you already has done a 2 revision and written a 2 test series. Then why should you give one group? Actually, I thought on that because I already have studied for twice. For group 1, I studied for thrice. Why should I give group 1 or group 2 itself? Let me give both the groups, because both the groups are interrelated. So I decided to, I took, at the time, mock test 2 series was released by ICA. I took a DT and IDT question paper of ICA mock test series. I solved it without revision. 3 days after my operation, I solved it without revision. I was able to get 70% right without revision. So I decided to give both the groups at that time. Actually, this is a situation where I missed the plan. Actually, the 15 days, almost 15 days I have lost due to this. That is why I think that for planning, everything we planned will not go right. So almost if we have achieved 70% of my plan, it would be better. We will be in a better position, since I have finished my 2 revisions as I planned. The extreme situation, I am able to come out of it. So I decided to give both the groups from my only in November end. I decided I should give both the groups. Again, I got my stitches removed only before my 2 days before my FR exam.
Such a beautiful story, Mugundhan. It's very inspiring. And one thing I can learn out of this is, if you always stay ahead of the schedule, then all those uncertain events that might come in your life will also be taken care of. But if you're always lagging behind, then such events might damage you more. This is very, very inspiring and very informative, very knowledgeable. A lot of wisdom was there in that particular story. So now, Mugundhan, let's come to the last segment of this interview. I want you to take us through subject by subject preparation strategy. Okay, I'm going to start with Group 1 CA Final. First subject is Financial Reporting FR. Tell us, from where did you study it and how was your strategy as to how you're supposed to approach it? Please tell the young CA Final students who will be attempting now what all areas they need to be alert about and how to go about FR. Once you're done with FR, then we'll take up the other subjects one by one. Let's start with FR. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. To be a chartered accountant, I always believe we require only 2 things, hard work and consistency. I believed in hard work and consistency. As I said before, I used to plan based on hours. I allocated around 120 to 150 hours for FR. I used to solve all the questions in ICA study material. Each and every question I used to solve in ICA study material, RTP and MTP for last 3 attempts. And the past exam question papers from May 16, because that is where the Indies was introduced. FR portion is full of Indies. I had a practical exposure in FR because I worked on listed clients. So it is very easy for me to prepare for FR. Actually, I'll divide the studies into the preparation strategy into two: the materials I used, the time I spent. Since practical subjects are most scoring part, I used to spend more time on practical rather theory. So I allocated around 120 to 150 hours for FR. I used to solve all the questions from the sources I mentioned. Other than that, I was not referring to many faculty materials because ICA study material was exhaustive for FR. It almost contained around 600 questions. I used to solve around all the questions in ICA study material. And I will prepare my own notes. For each standard, I will write a summary notes. Because during exam I will get only 1.5 days to revise. So if I go for entire study material, it would not be possible for me to cover in entire 1.5 days. So I used to prepare my own notes for all the subjects. For FR, I used to prepare standard. What are the concepts in those standards? I used to solve the questions. For second revision, I will read my notes. I will solve the questions. If I am not able to solve any of the question, I will mark it as important to be seen before my exams. Or else I will adjust my notes, so that because of which I can solve it in the next attempt. So I used to adjust my notes according to the questions. So I solved each and every question from the mentioned before.
Great, Mugundhan. So now let's go to the second subject, that is Strategic Financial Management Paper 2. I am very excited to ask you about that because you have attended my classes for Strategic Financial Management. So I would ask you a question like this. Firstly, how did you find the SFM that you studied with me? Please share with all. And secondly, what was your strategy regarding the entire preparation for SFM? Please take us through that.
Actually, the plan was quite simple for SFM because the product I purchased from you was very exhaustive. It was what I planned before. As I said for FR, I allocated again 150 hours for SFM. My plan was to cover all the ICA sources, RTP, MTP, and past exam question papers for past 10 years. But I failed to view one video from JKSC lectures, the introduction video where the Rahul sir has introduced the subject to us, what is given in that product. I saw that video only during somewhere in August. It was mentioned that the product has the question bank which we are going to solve in class has all the questions from ICA till November 20. That was my plan for FR also. So I didn't go for any other thing. I didn't even refer ICA study material. I took the questions given by Rahul sir in the SFM product. It contains almost 600 to 700 questions of ICA till November 20 attempt. Again, I was searching for May 21. There was some questions added in May 21 study material and May 21 exams, and RTP, MTP is released after November 20. Again, I didn't get any. I didn't go to anywhere. Again, another video was uploaded saying what are the questions which is not covered in the product. It was very easy for me to note those sums and refer those only. I referred those 600 questions, 600 to 700 it was, and the questions which Rahul sir told that was not covered in his product from November 20 attempt onwards. So I used to refer all the questions, 600, all the 700 questions and additional questions which were added by ICA after that. I solved those twice. As I said earlier, I prepared my own notes for SFM also. I used to write the formulas separately. I used to read the formula. I used to solve the sums, all the sums I used to solve. If I am not able to solve the sums, I will adjust my notes or I will mark that as important. I want to see it before my exam. Like that, when I marked, it came around 160 sums that I need to see before my exams. I solved all the 160 sums before my exam. I used to solve it in a day, and I revised my notes twice before my exam. It was a very less portion, I think, is in SFM. So I revised it twice. The notes which I prepared before my exam, I solved all the 160 sums. Unfortunately, none of the 160 sums turned up in the exam. Still, I am able to score 90 marks in SFM, mainly because I already solved those 700 sums twice. It was a one-stop solution, one-stop question bank which the JKS has given to me.
Okay, then Mugundhan, let's go to the next subject, paper 3, audit. Please tell us, how did you plan for audit?
To be honest, audit is the subject I like more practically but hate it theoretically. It is a very vast subject in the CA syllabus. It is very difficult for me to prepare for exams theoretically in audit. I was shocked that I spent 3 years in audit in a big firm. Still, I found it difficult to prepare for audit subject. The syllabus was very, very vast. I planned for it as I should study everything in standards and professional ethics. These are the 2 chapters. I thought almost 40% of the marks come from these 2 chapters. So I decided to spend a lot of time on these 2 chapters. I studied everything, every nook and corner of ICA study material in these 2 chapters. And for other chapters, as I said earlier, I use only ICA sources, which means RTPs, MTPs, and ICA book back questions and other questions, which is released by ICA. I studied only those for other chapters. I covered everything in ethics and standards. And for MCQs, I used only the ICA Case Digest, which was released by Case Digest, which has around 100 individual MCQs and 30 case studies. Luckily, I got around 10 marks from that in my main exam. So any subject it is, ICA sources are very, very important, which I felt that many of the questions which ICA gives is repeated in exams. One or other day it is going to come. So I covered every nook and corner of questions released by ICA. That is the main strategy for audit. Somehow I got into my mind, I want to study full standards and ethics. So it helped me to score not exemption. Audit is the only subject I scored 58 marks. Other subjects I scored exemption.
Superb, Mugundhan. Thank you for that insight. Now let's go to paper 4, that is law. Please take us through how did you prepare the law subject.
Law is one of the subjects I don't like in the syllabus because I scored 51 marks in law in CA intermediate, where my total is around 612. Law was a subject I scored very least in intermediate, so I was planned before for CA Final Law because I thought that I should spend more time on it so that I will get through that subject, because it is a theoretical subject and there are many limits which we want to remember. It is to test our knowledge. I prefer audit and law, the subjects where we are tested for our remembrance skill rather than our preparation. So I decided to spend a lot of time on law. Again, my sources of materials is from ICAI. All the past 10 years question paper and all the questions from ICA study module, RTP, MTP, student journal, or the sources I used to prepare law. I used to prepare again for my own notes for law. There are many limits, 10 crores, 50 crores like that. So I should not forget that, so that I used to write down in a note separately the things which I should remember. Law is a very small subject in the curriculum, I can say. It has only few chapters in it. So I used to spend around 100 to 120 hours for law for each revision. For first revision, I spent the same time. For second revision, almost 20 to 30 hours lesser than first revision. And for third revision, almost I used to cover it in 1.5 days. It was very easy for me to to cover the entire subject in 1.5 days. But the main source would be of ICA, and again for MCQ, I use only the ICA Case Digest. It has around 100 questions of individual MCQ and 30 for case studies. I solved it twice, the entire MCQ twice.
Great, Mugundhan. So now let's shift to group 2. The first paper number 5 is SCMPE. So please tell us, how did you plan for that? How did you study for that? You enrolled for SCMPE with JKSC online. How was the experience? How did you like the product? And then tell us your strategy about it. Please tell us.
Actually, it was one of the nightmare subject for me in CA Final, because there is nothing more to study in it. We want to express the situation in our own words. We want to understand the concept, understand the situation, and express in our own words. There is no right or wrong answer in SCMPE, which for most of the questions, case studies, what I feel. It is a subject which I started in 2019 from outside JKSC. But when I came for when I started my self preparation, I was not confident enough, because as I said earlier, I missed many classes. So I took fast track classes from JKSC. Again, after seeing those classes, I was confident in practical aspect of SCMPE. But theoretically, I thought that I should prepare more. Then I decided to self-study the theoretical part of the SCMPE, because it contains 60% of the portion. I started self-study for the theoretical portion. and I used ICA study material. It was a major thing I used in it, and again ICA has released case digest around 40 cases in that. I solved the entire case studies again, and ICA student journal there were many cases introduced. I used to solve all the ICA sources from it. I practiced the case studies. Then my mind became to think like that. If I were in the situation, what words I should express the answer. College days has helped me for writing the answers in detail. And again in exam it was around 40% repeated questions and 60% was the new things. Somehow using the self preparation I was able to get through the SCMPE subject.
So the next paper is the elective. Please tell us which one you chose and how did you prepare for it?
I have taken GFRS as my elective, but initially my plan was to take economic laws as my elective. Because I thought that since I am already weak in law, if I spend 2 times the time I spent for actually law is a continuation of what we read in group 1. So if I spend twice the time, I will score more marks. That was the initial thought. Then later when I sat down and thought, why should I risk the subject? Because it is the subject where it is an open book exam. It is the subject where we can get an exemption. So why should I risk? I was very strong in practically and I have a practical exposure for Indies. Then I decided to choose GFRS as my elective, and I thought that during preparation it was very difficult for me to prepare because there are a lot of concepts which are not important for FR but important for GFRS. Somehow I got through all the questions. 30 cases was released by ICA and there were mock test question papers, everything I solved, and I got confidence that somehow I will score above 50 in my elective. There is nothing, it is an open book exam. So I thought that I am confident enough to score at least 50 minimum. I solved all the past exam question papers. I was able to crack most of the MCQs. So I was confident enough in GFRS and I applied for GFRS in my examination form only. Before that I bought economic law book. I would like to tell to the other students to how I select an elective. I saw my strong area and weak area and then I chose my elective. I would recommend that don't choose your elective based on the past exam question papers because it is the place where ICA can trick us, because in every subject the concepts are vast. It can ask any type of question paper. For example, in this attempt some question paper will be easy, next attempt that question paper will be tough. Whatever question the ICA thinks it will ask. So don't decide the elective based on the toughness of the subject. Rather the interest you have, the strong areas which you feel where you have the practical exposure, choose your elective based on these criteria.
Okay, thank you for that. Now let's go to the next paper, paper 7, Direct Tax. You have enrolled with us here at JK Shah online for Direct Tax. Please tell us about the product, how did you find it and your strategy for the subject.
I have taken direct tax classes from Saurabh Bhatt sir in JKSC. Actually, direct tax is one of the vast subject in Group 2, such as like in audit in Group 1. Every time when I study the direct tax, I will come to know the new provisions there, because full income tax act is included in the CA Final syllabus. I used to prepare my own notes for direct tax, writing the provisions separately. Since the portion is huge, my notes itself came to around 200 pages. So I'll write all the provisions and I'll read that and I'll solve the questions from past exams. Actually, the notes which JKSC given me has covered again the past 10 years question paper. So I used to solve all the questions in past 10 years, ICA study material, RTP and MTP for DT. And I'll adjust my notes as I said earlier. I'll mark those questions which I am not able to solve the second time, or I'll adjust my notes accordingly to the question. Again, MCQ was one of the hectic portion in DT. Whenever I solve the MCQ, we want to have a broad mind covering all the provisions, because there used to be an answer which you think in your mind, and that will be there in the options given by ICA. Again, the correct answer will also be there, because we will tend to forget apply some provisions. Because for example, we will tend to forget surcharge need to be applied or education less. ICA confuses us using those answers also in the options. So for MCQ, I used ICA case digest, which again contained 100 MCQs and 30 cases. By practicing twice those cases, it made me to think broad how we should attend the MCQ. So it is a must to solve all the cases mentioned in ICA case digest.
Thank you so much, Mugundhan, for that. And now let's go to the last paper, paper 8, Indirect Tax, which also you have enrolled with us here at JKSC Online. Tell us how you found the product and tell us your strategy for preparing for this paper.
It is the subject, IDT is the subject which I am confident before my exams that I will score exemption in IDT. Special thanks to Nitin Nagar sir. As I mentioned, he was very approachable even in online recorded classes. And after watching the classes itself, I was quite confident that I will score an exemption in IDT because I was crystal clear on the concepts which I got to know. And again, the material given by him has covered all the ICA sources questions. The question bank he gave is from 2017 to 2019 updated, 2020 uploaded to current provision. I solved all the questions from the question bank which he gave. He again gave a MCQ which he thinks it will come in exams. And again I solved that MCQs once. And again I used ICA case digest for MCQ. For DT and IDT, practice of MCQ is a very necessary thing which we should do before our exams, because it needs a broad mind to answer the MCQs, especially for DT and IDT. I solved DT and IDT MCQ case digest thrice before my exams. It made me to think in a different way how the MCQs was framed, how we should not select the wrong answer, how we should apply those provisions. So it helped me a lot in clearing that IDT and DT MCQs, especially the ICA case digest. Again for IDT, I used again ICA study material, RTP and MTP and the question bank given by Nitin Nagar sir. Nothing more than that we need, because it is a subject where I can spend very less time and score more. I spent around 90 hours for first revision and almost 60 to 70 hours for second revision. I used to solve all the questions in the question bank or the sources which I said. It is a very less time consuming subject and more scoring subject.
So thank you, Mugundhan, for this brilliant interview. I have taken a few interviews, but I'll tell you one thing, I am personally very inspired. I am really going through a lot of emotions right now listening to all that you say. It was very insightful, very informative, and thank you for reflecting all that sincerity and dedication that you have in the last 1 hour that you have been speaking to us. Thank you for that. Now Mugundhan, as a concluding note, would you like to give one piece of advice to your juniors, the ones who will be attempting for their CA final? You can tell your heart out and then we will end this interview. Please go ahead.
To conclude, I used to prepare, as I said, I used to prepare my own notes for all the subjects except audit. I prepared my own notes for all the subjects. I would recommend doing so, because as I see many people, I have interacted with many rankers before, or not rankers, many professors actually, rankers who are professors in JKSC. They also used to prepare their own notes using the ICA material and the notes from the classes which they see. So the same step I followed, I would recommend the same to my juniors also. And again, I have recommended the JKSC classes of SFM and IDT to many of my juniors in my office. They started viewing the lectures before my results, and they were very happy that they are also satisfied and recommended the same to their juniors. And after seeing my results, they were very happy to see that I have secured 90 in both SFM and IDT. And again, for exam preparation, I said that I used to travel 4 hours to write an exam, because it is 60 kilometers away from my home. The exam center is almost 60 kilometers away from my home. Since I was operated, I used to take a cab from my home to exam center. Almost I lost 4 hours to 5 hours in travel in 1.5 days which we get before my exam. And again, I lost 15 days during my preparation. If I can score with all these struggles, I can score All India rank 9 in my exams. Why can't you? Always believe in consistency and hard work. If you put hard work and consistently put your hard work, the results are going to be very much positive for you. Thank you very much, and all the best for your exams.
Superb. Thank you very much for that brilliant recommendation, and thank you for sharing the good word across. So it was very nice interviewing you, Mugundhan. Thank you very much. You have really made me and the entire JKSC family proud with whatever you have done. The brilliant achievement of scoring an All India rank 9 From here at JKSC, we wish you the very, very best for your future, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Bye.